state of Vermont. Now, this is no surprise at all. Fox News projects that Barack Obama will carry that state. In the state of Kentucky, a border state, never really in doubt or contested this year, we project John McCain, the winner in the state of Kentucky. Georgia, a state where Barack Obama was thought to have a real chance, too close to call. Virginia, a state everybody's watching, too close to call at this hour. Similar situation in South Carolina. We rate that state too close to call as well. The same thing for Indiana presidency. Very big, as you can see with Megan, and we've got some updated numbers. This is very exciting. You can see that the state of Kentucky there is filled in red. That means, yes, McCain has won Kentucky. And then you can see up on the left in the northeast that the state of Vermont has gone to Barack Obama. So split between the two states. And then down in the left-hand corner of the map, although we'll need to widen out a little bit to see it, you'll see that we've actually been able to update the electoral vote tally. And as you can see right now, John McCain is leading 8-3. So an early lead for John McCain in the Electoral College. Obviously, those numbers won't last long. I don't mean the direction, but they're just a little bit. 12 seconds away from the magic time, and we'll be able to give you a few. We have a state we're going to be able to call. Isn't that exciting? Because there's an awful lot at this hour that's too close to call. We are, I think, appropriately skeptical of the exit polls. It's now 7:30 here on the East Coast, and Fox News projects that John McCain has carried the state of West Virginia. This is no big surprise, but nonetheless, it's a state he clearly has to have. Now, turning to North Carolina, which became a battleground state, we rate it too close to call. Ohio, a critical battleground state, especially for John McCain. We rate that too close to call as well. Similar situation in Georgia. Georgia is a state which became a late battleground state. Should have been easily read, but John McCain had to fight for it. Still too close to call. And here's some states we've looked at before. Virginia, still too close to call. Same deal. South Carolina, too close to call. And Indiana, a state which we've been talking quite a lot about, also too close to call, which is something like now it's 13 electoral votes to 3 for Barack Obama. Obviously, that's going to change a lot and fairly soon. One more state to call, though, for John McCain, and this is the state of South Carolina, where the polls have been closed for some time now, so that adds another few electoral votes to the McCain. This isn't a surprise. On the other hand, if it had gone the other way, that would have been a surprise. The East Coast, polls are now closed in 15 states, worth a combined 171 electoral votes. We call Massachusetts, no surprise here, for Barack Obama. We also call Barack Obama. That also not a surprise. His home state of Illinois, not a surprise, but a big state for Obama. The District of Columbia, this is really not a surprise for Obama. Connecticut, Barack Obama. Maine, Barack Obama. New Jersey, Barack Obama. Delaware, Joe Biden's home state, Barack Obama. Oklahoma, not a surprise here either, John McCain. So what remains too close to call with all these states? North Carolina remains too close to call. Ohio remains too close to call. Virginia remains too close to call. Georgia remains too close to call. So likewise does Indiana. So does Florida at this hour, although the polls, of course, closed there. And Missouri is too close to call. And the big prize, really, if you're a strategist for McCain, Pennsylvania, too close to call. That's a state that McCain made a last-minute effort to offset possible losses in states like Virginia and Indiana, should he lose either or both of those two. Now you see that the electoral count has changed around. Barack Obama there, the left-hand side of your screen, now with 77 electoral votes to John McCain's 28. That's really a function of the size of the states that have closed. Many big ones yet to come. Plenty of possibility, at least, possibility for that to tighten. State to call for John McCain. Again, not a surprise. The border state of Tennessee goes for Senator McCain. And we continue to watch these states that remain too close to call. One of the big ones, of course, is Ohio. And Megyn Kelly has been analyzing the exit poll numbers there. Just briefly here, we got another projection we can make from the presidential race. We now project, Fox News projects Barack Obama the winner in New Hampshire. That was a state that was looked like it was leaning his direction, but it was not thought impossible for John McCain to win there. So that's a bit of bad news for him, a bit of good news, not big, but important perhaps for Obama. Wall here, and as you can see, the Obama lead now in electoral votes has expanded to 103 to 39, and we're about to expand it even further because we're now calling Pennsylvania for Barack Obama. This is a very hard one for the McCain camp to swallow tonight because it bet on Pennsylvania as a place which, if it could just steal it and put it in the blue column, it could hold off the Obama surge in other areas and perhaps afford to lose a few red states. Now that possibility is taken away. And the situation for Obama has markedly improved. It is now 8:30. Polls have closed in a number of places. We declared the state of Arkansas will go for John McCain. And we're now going to, and as you noted, we've called Pennsylvania already for Obama. North Carolina, though, too close to call. Virginia, also still too close to call. Pennsylvania, as we've noted, it says too close to call there, but we now have called that. Ohio, we're still too close to call. Missouri, likewise, too close. Same deal with Florida. Same deal still with Indiana. Same with Georgia. All of those states remain too close to call. But the big one, of course, is Pennsylvania, where, as we've noted, a major effort was made by the McCain campaign during the closing days on the hopes of an upset there. So now, for a word on how the Senate races that we'll be looking at. All right, we've got this thing we're calling the launch pad that you heard Megyn Kelly going on about. We're very proud of it, so we want to talk about it a lot. So there you see all the states that have gone for McCain are in red, and all the states have gone for Obama in blue on the right, and then on the left, you got the tally of, first of all, you got the popular vote, which is about tied now. That doesn't mean very much at this stage. McCain's slightly ahead. But in the electoral college map, which is, of course, all that matters, it's 103 for Obama, and John McCain has 69 electoral votes. Not over yet, but Obama has a lead. Now, we'll call Wisconsin now. We believe that Barack Obama has carried the state of Wisconsin, unless I'm mistaken. We don't have the check mark next to his name, but disregard that. New Mexico, we call for Barack Obama as well. That was a Bush state, so that's a switch into the Obama column. North Dakota, we believe John McCain will hold on there. The Obama forces really thought they had a chance out there. We think McCain has hung on there. We also believe that he has hung on, as I guess we've told you before, in the state of Kentucky. Let's look at this next one. This is interesting. This is... Well, we seem to be stuck on this board, and we'll wait for it to switch. There we go. Minnesota, Barack Obama carrying Minnesota. That should help Al Franken a bit in his Senate race out there. New York, no surprise there, though. It's a huge state. Rhode Island, Obama, no surprise there. Michigan, Obama. That was not a contested state in the latter stages of this campaign. And Wyoming, a state that I don't think Barack Obama ever went there, and that's a state that John McCain seems to have carried fairly. North Carolina, we're still looking at that as too close to call. Similarly, Virginia, even though it's now been 2 hours since the polls closed, still too close to call. McCain ahead a bit there. Ohio, it looks too close to call. You see Obama enjoying a lead of a couple of 100,000 votes, but that's early. Oh, no, we're calling it for Obama. Excuse me. Ohio for Obama. All right, there we go. Missouri, still too close to call. Florida, let's look and see whether they've called it or not. Nope, they haven't called it. Still too close to call. Indiana, a state Republicans used to own, too close to call 2 hours after the polls closed. We did not call Ohio. I apologize, folks. I'm told that we are not calling Ohio, that the check mark was misplaced. Maybe it was the one that was supposed to go to Wisconsin that ended up in Ohio. But, you know, we got a lot of maps and stuff to fool around with here tonight, so you don't, every now and then somebody puts a check in the wrong place, and look what happens. So we have, in particular, this thing called the launch pad we have here with this enormous screen next to it. It's pretty cool. So we thought, well, Megyn Kelly's done a lot with it. Why don't we see what Karl Rove could do? Oh,
no, we're in trouble. We're in trouble.
Here we go.
We're in trouble. Well, look, battleground states right here. Here are the states that have been called thus far. West Virginia for McCain, New Hampshire and Pennsylvania for Barack Obama.
Word that the state of Ohio has gone for Barack Obama, which pushes, as you just pointed out, John McCain down to, even if he wins all the rest of these, he gets to 266.
That's right.
So he has, unless something miraculous happens in one of these non-battleground states.
That's right.
McCain's situation is right now looking pretty dire.
Right. In order for McCain to win, if Ohio ends up in Barack Obama's column tonight, then what he has to do is pick up a state that was won by the Democrats in 2004 on the West Coast, or Michigan, which is still yet to be called, Washington, Oregon, or California or Hawaii, which are, particularly Hawaii and California, highly unlikely.
So, polls closing. This is Missouri. Still too close to call, although you see McCain enjoying a lead there. Similarly, Florida. Barack Obama enjoying a slight lead there. Still, however, Florida too close to call. North Carolina, the same picture. And the same thing obtains in the Old Dominion, the state of Virginia, which, as we pointed out repeatedly, has not gone Republican for not gone Democrat in a presidential election for a very long time indeed. to our panel. I want to get back to this question now. Of course, first of all, there is a call to be made for John McCain here in the state of Louisiana. This was never really a battleground state, but it was one, obviously, that McCain needed to have, another red state that has stayed red at least this time. Let's take a look now at what is a fairly long list of states whose polls have closed, but which you can't call yet. Florida, where Phil is, being one of them. The list is pretty long, as we say. Florida, you can't, too close to call. Indiana, too close to call. North Carolina, same thing. Virginia still, 2 hours and 43 minutes after the polls closed there. Missouri, still too close to call. Texas, we don't have a lot of doubt about Texas. I don't think Obama ever went there, but it's still too close to call. Polls closed there about 45 minutes ago. Colorado, still too close. South Dakota, North Dakota we've called for McCain. South Dakota too close. Arizona, McCain's home state. Now, that's a fairly recent poll closing, 9 o'clock, but still can't call it. It got to be a race. In Nebraska, boy, that would be a shocker, wouldn't it? But it's still too close to call. So, and Virginia, we're still rating too close to call. So this is a state we haven't called yet. Missouri, too close to call. Same thing in Florida. Guess what? Same thing in North Carolina. And with 4 minutes to go before the further poll closings occur, we rate that state too close to call. Look, we're looking at, we do have one state we can call, Bill. This will be no surprise, and it's actually already turned up on your map red, and that is the state of Texas for John McCain. The polls closed there, what, 9 o'clock, so that was one, nobody went there. Big state, you'd think somebody would have gone, but it was pretty clear that Obama wasn't going to turn it, and McCain didn't need to go, and so he didn't. We're now 15 seconds away from the 10 p.m. closing. And as we've mentioned, there's some big ones at 10 o'clock to see if we'll have a chance to call that. It appears at this point that we're not going to be able to call that at 10, but we can call Utah for John McCain and Iowa, no great surprise, although it's a switch, for Barack Obama. And it is because of states like that, those two, that Iowa and also New Mexico, that John McCain needed, in Virginia and other states where he was challenged, that John McCain needed to rush into Pennsylvania and try to pull something off. So it's one race we can call now in the presidential race is Mississippi. We declare John McCain the winner there. We await with some interest, of course, the result of the Senate race there, which remains too close to call. But if it went Republican, and Roger Wicker is the incumbent, if it went Republican, would end the Democrats' chances of getting to the magical 60-vote, no filibuster majority. There you see our electoral map there, the current state of the electoral count. This is 207-135 for Obama. Important to know that among the ingredients of that 207 are such states as Ohio and Pennsylvania, as well as Iowa and New Mexico, which are like Ohio, red states that Obama has turned in his direction, depriving McCain of what he really would have needed to pull this off. So the odds look long for John McCain, as we've been pointing out. This is Nebraska. We're calling for Senator McCain. We're allocating 3 of the 5 electoral votes to him right now from that state. That's a state that does not have a winner-take-all system. So it appears McCain, by virtue of, well, you see it's 52-46 now. Where we project he'll end up, he'll get 3 of the 5. That's one of the few states in the country where it's not winner-take-all in the electoral votes. We do, however, have a state to call we've been holding back on low these many hours, and that is the Old Dominion, the state of Virginia. Fox News now projects, even though we don't have the check mark ready yet, that Barack Obama has carried the state of Virginia. That's the first time that has happened for a Democrat in, what, 44 years since Lyndon Johnson. There it is. There it is, the check mark, since Lyndon Johnson won that tremendous landslide over Barry Goldwater all those years ago. A tremendous achievement, obviously, for Barack Obama, having peeled off a state that not too many years ago people would have thought would be not only difficult, if not impossible, for a Democrat, but very difficult indeed for an African-American Democrat. That state, since those days, of course, has had an African-American governor, and now it has lent its weight to the prospect of an African-American president. We can now call the state of South Dakota for John McCain. That obviously will be some little limited welcome news for him late on an election night when his own people are saying that they cannot see and have not been able for some hours to see any path that would take them to victory. So the hour, we're about to tell you something that you may have recognized as inevitable. It's now 11 o'clock. We project California for Barack Obama. That will change our electoral board from 220 votes to 275 and make Barack Obama, in our view, President-elect of the United States of America. That, of course, is the scene in Grant Park out in Chicago, where, as you can see, a large throng has gathered and has been waiting for some hours to hear this news. They came obviously expecting it on what turned out to be a remarkably balmy night for early November in the Midwest. And there you see flash bulbs popping, American flags in the breeze, and people jumping up and down, applauding and yelling with joy that their man, Barack Obama, a hometown boy, at least an adopted hometown boy, has been elected the 44th president of the United States as of 11 o'clock this night, 10 p.m., of course, as you see it on the screen, Chicago time. Extraordinarily well done. Let's turn just for a moment. We got a couple of calls we can make. These are state calls, superfluous now perhaps, but I'm sure meaningful to Barack Obama. He's carried the state of Colorado, the state McCain obviously would have liked to have had, and also the state of Nevada. So that completes a picture in which his electoral college majority is now over, I guess, over 2-1 for over John McCain. Well, we got another call to make, as if it mattered. No doubt it'll matter to the people in Florida who have voted to support Barack Obama, rolling his, I guess his electoral total is now up to something like 338 to 155. Quite an impressive victory indeed. It may go a bit higher as the night wears on. So
Wednesday morning, and Fox News can now make a projection that Indiana will in fact go for Barack Obama, the state of Indiana that he had been fighting for. He will, in fact, get the electoral votes from Indiana, a big win for the Obama campaign.